Howdy mates, how are we doing? Here's a second video for Wednesday, December 28th, 2022. I'm actually over revisiting a park that I haven't been to for quite some time. This is the Ponce de León Park over in Punta Gorda. So this park is well known for bordering just along the Charlotte Harbor, which is the second largest estuary in the state of Florida. So I'm sure some of you have had that question before. For those of you not as familiar, what exactly is an estuary? Well, it refers to a body of water that has a mixture of both fresh and salt water. So that being said, given the part of the harbor that we're at, we're actually a bit closer to the Gulf. So that being said, the salinity is going to be a little higher. And typically, salinity is measured in terms of, I believe, parts per thousand. And that particular range is usually from 0 to 30. But I'll be sure to clarify in my description, of course. So 0.5 parts per thousand, that typically means you really don't have that much salinity whatsoever. It is mostly fresh water. Whereas if it's up to 20 to 30 parts per thousand, I believe salt water in particular is just at about 30 parts per thousand. So that being said, the further away you get from the Gulf, the less salinity there will be. And another factor is not just on location, it is also a factor for the wet and dry season. So during the wet season, there's a lot more rain that occurs, and that is all fresh water. So that is also going to vary the amount of salinity found in the harbor. Whereas now we're in the dry season, we don't have as much rain. That may actually raise that salinity level by a little bit. So that essentially is what defines an estuary. So there will always be abundant aquatic life, whether it be in the form of fish, crustaceans, mollusks, worms even, and also oysters too. So plenty of life. And forgot to mention too, horseshoe crabs. Now rest assured, this is not a live horseshoe crab. This is basically a molted horseshoe crab. So what I mean by that is horseshoe crabs grow throughout their life. And so this is essentially a remnant of an old exoskeleton that belonged to one. So as they grow, they will molt. So they will lose that exoskeleton for a short amount of time so that it will grow a new one. Now what's amazing about their exoskeleton, it's actually made from a protein called keratin, which is the same exact protein that makes up our fingernails as well as our hair. It's the same exact protein, just in a different form. Now, I wish that there was a live horseshoe crab because I could talk a little more about it. But what you need to know is horseshoe crabs, of course, have a male and a female, and there is a way of looking. Is typically with a male, you have two front pinchers, whereas a female does not. And for another, horseshoe crabs are actually more closely related to arachnids as opposed to actual crabs. And just so you guys know, too, crabs, or like horseshoe crabs, they actually don't have 8 limbs. They actually have 10. So most horseshoe crabs are considered to be decapods, as a matter of fact. And for another, since their blood actually has a blue pigment, their blood has actually been used in medical equipment to help detect any impurities in any machines that are being used in the medical field. So their blood is actually very useful. And typically, for any organization, nonprofit even, that needs to use horseshoe crab blood, it's always done so sustainably. They don't take more than what they need. But also here you will see a mixture of different mangroves, as I have mentioned in past videos. But it just really goes to prove just how diverse Florida really is in terms of its type of water settings. You know, you got fresh water, you got brackish water, and then you have salt water by the ocean. And even freshwater springs, which was some coverage I did earlier this month. So despite how much development is happening in this state, these types of habitats are absolutely worth protecting and worth educating about too, in addition. So, alright you guys, hope you all enjoyed your Wednesday. Take it easy. Looking forward to 2023 coming up. And once again, Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care folks, see ya.